We're here with Frankie from Mama Mary's Pizza. Frankie, thank you for coming on the podcast today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Yes,
You
I'm
know,
very excited to dive into not only your story, but the way that you treat your employees and just your mindset on business and life. So I'm very excited to kind of dive in just to everything in general. So thank you.
no, you're welcome.
Yeah.
We've been here for 13 and a half years now. It was kind of an odd story. I was actually looking to open up a pizzeria. Um, Found out my older brother was also. My dad brought us together, and he said he'd be partners with us so long as we made a pizza that reminded him of home.
Okay.
He's from the Bronx, and he wanted a New York style thin crust pizza. And it took me 2 years basically to develop one on my own that he actually liked. I was at his house every other weekend making a different pizza until he finally picked up that phone from my brother, says, "Get over here, your brother's got it."
That's amazing. What kind of went into you crafting a pizza that resembled N- New York, but still kind of was your own style?
Well, the big thing was just trying to get the dough right. That was the biggest thing. Just getting one that, like I said, it reminded him of home. You wanted a pizza that you could fold the crust up on, which is the only proper way to eat pizza. Sorry, no knives and forks here. But it was also the taste that he wanted. The sauce was actually provided to us by a chef of a local company, you know, um, because he said, this is exactly what my dad wanted. And he was right.
Yeah.
That was an amazing thing. Um, but yeah, we did all of that. We tested the pizzas. We had 50 people over at my dad's house
Oh my
trying
gosh.
pizzas. So once we had that, we started seriously looking for a place to open up. One of the other big challenges is finding a name that wasn't already used,
Yeah.
right? And we were searching and talking and talking. And unfortunately, at that time, before we found the place, is when we found out that my mother had cancer. She had both lung cancer, and then immediately following that, she got breast cancer. Um, and my older brother walked in. He said, "You know what? We're calling it Mama Mary's. There's not a discussion, you know." And that's what we did. We named it after her, in honor of her, because she was the glue to the family. She held everybody together. And unfortunately, she got to see it for a while. She passed away in 2017, 5 years after we opened and everything. But the main thing is that the family's always railed together to make sure that we stay open even through the tough times, because this is more of a tribute to her now than just a pizza place, you know. So it's been a wonderful journey, you know.
So you would say your mother is what drives the business forward, especially when things get hard.
Absolutely. It's like this is her legacy more than ours.
Just
And that's the way we want to remember her. You know, she tried all of our products. I make a joke, even though I'm the one that came up with most of the recipes, is that you know we're around because we have good food. We have good food because Mama Mary made sure that I made her recipes right. Otherwise, she'd pull a switch.
I love it. I love it. And can uh you also mentioned earlier that your your 83-year-old father is here working in the building with you.
Absolutely. He retired twice.
Okay.
The first two times I told him my mom got tired of him, told him to go find something to do. But actually, he's kind of a workaholic. He needs to. But after my mother passed, he still wanted something to do. And he said, you know what? I'm just going to come work at the pizza shop, so make room for me. Now he's 83. He's going to be 84 in January, and he's still going. And it's just a belief that at his age he has to keep active, and that's what he wants to do. That's great.
What is something that you learned about your father when he started working with you that you didn't know beforehand?
Well, I shouldn't say that I didn't know it before him, but I actually got to see how hard he'll work in order to get things done,
Okay.
and how much he cares, and how much he'll pay attention to what needs to be done and when it needs to be done. And it's a work ethic that he's instilled in all of us kids, realistically, but you actually get to see it, that he's willing to come in and do what's necessary. I can't tell you, when we took this place over from another family, was barely doing $1,000 a week. That meant that we were all working 80 hours a week, to make sure that we reduced our costs, and everything to build sales. And he's been there right along, it's like, even when he was working before he retired, he would come in and put hours in here on his days off, because that's what it takes when you're opening up a business. You got to do the hours. You got to do the time. You got to have the dedication.
Yeah.
And he has been. He's been there every step of the way through the good times and the bad times. You
You
know.
would say that your father's hard work kind of rubbed off on you as well?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody knows that I'm a hard worker. We have a running joke here where they say, Frankie, you need to go home, right? And I tell them I am home, but I need to
Yeah.
go see the wife.
Yes.
So,
I love it. That's awesome. And something we also talked about off camera when I first came in, met with you is just the way that you not only live your life, but build your business with values and integrity. Can you kind of dive into what those values are and kind of why you stand so strong on them?
well, the biggest thing is, yeah,
You're good.
one of the biggest things about the value is that, all businesses will want to say things, take care of your customers. Okay. The thing that goes along with that is you have to take care of your employees. If you take care of your employees and they see the way you take care of the customers, they'll take care of your customers. You know, they say, we do things that make it simple. Like, say, for instance, we run specials, not really coupons. And in today's day and age, you really don't need to collect coupons anymore, right? It's all computerized.
Yeah.
But you used to have people that say, oh, well, I forgot my coupon, right? Some people, very rare, will just drive home and go get it without even saying anything. Most people will say, do I really need the coupon? And we don't. And you get that very, very small amount of people that will also come in and they'll say, well, you're just going to have to give it to me or else I don't want the order. It's like, it's okay. We call them specials, not
Yeah.
coupons. Why? Because why would you want a point of contention? And that's what I teach them. Don't argue with the customer. There was a manager I used to work for a furniture company, and he said something when we opened up a new store. He said there, he goes, I'm going to tell you right now that you always hear the phrase, the customer's always right. Right? And he goes, and I'm here to tell you that's actually wrong. He goes, we know that the customer's not always right. He said, the truth of the matter is you never win an argument with the customer. So our job is to not frustrate the customer. Even if it's something that they did that was wrong, you know, we just fix it. Really, what's it going to cost? Even when they know that they did something wrong and they messed up, just take care of it.
Yeah.
And we treat our employees the same way. People are human; they make mistakes. So if somebody makes up a pizza, we're not going to be yelling or screaming at them. Whatever it takes to fix it. And we use this analogy as everybody jumps on getting it done. It doesn't matter who made the mistake. I mean, think about it. You ever watch a football game? Quarterback takes the ball, throws it as a pass, it gets caught, he gets hit, the ball gets fumbled. Whose job is it to recover the ball?
Team.
Everybody on the team, including everybody on the other team. So the idea is fix it as quickly as you can because you don't want them going to the other team. You want them to stay here and you want to make them happy. And we do the same thing with our employees. We pay our employees well for the market, you know, um, and we try to help them whenever we can. We do a massive amount of shifting for schedule when people have stuff to do, but they all work together on it because they know that if they ask for some time off that's needed, particularly during a busy time, the other team members are going to step in and help. We don't have to, well, we're scheduling this because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I can cover that. You know, the employees have everybody's phone number because if they're going to call a shift, they'll usually try to find a replacement for themselves first. So we're not scrambling at the last minute. Why? Because that's the way we want to treat it more like it's family as far as employees go. And that's important. If you treat them with respect, you treat them as they're valued, then they're going to value what you do too,
Yes.
and they're going to be there for you. And it
And
makes it easier, like I said, when dealing with customers.
yeah. No, because they actually want to be there. They want to help the customer. They're not just going to get through the motions to get paid. They're going to actually back it with values because they like working here. They want to match what you do. They're inspired by your
Right.
work ethic, your values. And another thing that we talked about was you're never afraid to lose employees. You actually encourage them to go chase their greatness after here. Can you kind of dive into why?
Okay, so basically, with a pizzeria, it's carry out and delivery. You already know that the vast majority of people are here only for a short time. They're either here for extra income, they're here while they're in for school, they have their own goals and desires, but they still have bills to pay, even if they're living at home, going to college or whatever. The general idea is that you want them to be at their best. Anything that they can take away from learning here is going to make them a better person. You know, Well, companies are always going to go through hiring processes. You're always going to have people to leave. The point is never get upset about them doing something better for themselves, because that's what you ultimately want for them. What's best for them. And if you have that attitude while they're working here, you'll have that attitude when they move on and do something better for themselves. Not only that, but frankly, some of them, when they need a little extra cash, will come and say, "Hey, do you have any extra hours? I got a couple of bills to pay." And they help you out of a
Love it.
bad situation. But it's just the right thing to do. You know that the vast majority of people are going to leave. And if they're going to leave, let them leave for something better. You know, that's all it is. They really, we got a guy that worked for us 2 years, wanted to move down to Florida and with some of his friends and everything. And he took everything he learned here as a shift manager, got a job at another pizzeria, a really busy one compared to us, right? And now he's running the store within 3 months
Amazing.
because he took all of his skills with him. He comes up here for his birthday to see his parents and stops in and sees us all the time. We still talk to him. Why? Because he's still part of our family, even if he's doing something else. You know, it's just like I said, you should want the very best for everybody, and sometimes that means leaving us as a job.
And when you hear those stories that you impacted someone's life and you did help them achieve greatness or their version of greatness, how does that make you feel?
It feels great. I'll tell you a story. When I worked in the furniture business, I had a warehouse manager come to me and say that he couldn't work with this person that was in the warehouse with him, right? And I'm like, well, what seems to be the problem? He goes, well, she wants my job. And I looked at him and I said, good. And he was thrown back. He goes, what, do you want to get rid of me? I said, no. I said, if she wants your job, that's a good thing. Train her to do your job. Take some of the burden off of yourself. I said, and a couple things can happen. If you get promoted, there's somebody that can fill your position. If she ends up getting your position in another store and she's trained well, that's a reflection of you, which helps you. So if she wants her job, then show her how to do it. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier.
Yeah,
And that's the way we do it here too. Anything we can do to teach anybody anything, you know, and mostly it comes down to, as you said, values rather than just the tasks.
absolutely. I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
Would would young Frankie be proud of you today?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah. Because I'm a different person. I used to be all very strict about things. This is the way it had to be. You're either going to do it or else. And like I said, over the course of time, and like I said, I had some great mentors. Like I said, the one from where I worked for the furniture company that said that, just try to show you how much better it is just to be polite and be flexible rather than adamant. Because you know things are going to go wrong. You know you're going to have to handle them. Just handle them in the right way. It's easier on you. It's easier on everybody else. And I've changed a lot in that respect. So
What was it about? Like, what was that moment when you were like, kind of like your eyes were open, where it's like life doesn't have to be strict? Like, was there like one moment that really like opened your eyes to that?
honestly, it's when I became a Christian. When I was converted, when God found my heart and changed the inside, He basically showed me. The one thing that Christians have a lot today. There seems to be a lot of people that try to polarize Christians, saying that they're trying to make them live life as a Christian, whereas that actual Christian we're not. We are told to preach the gospel. You've heard the gospel. We don't try to force people to live our way. You know, and that's what it is. Stop trying to make people live the way you are, right? And let them live in a politer manner. You know, we're not here to judge people on earth. That's, in our view, that's God's job. He's the judge, right? And it's the same way that with the rest of our life. Whatever I'm doing, I don't need to judge the person. I need to help them to understand and to train them and to teach them. And that made a huge difference in my life. And it finds out that those values, whether you're a believer or not, resonate all across the world. They really do. Some people just want to be left alone, and that's okay. Some people want to learn more, so show them, right? Our job isn't to try to force people, because that's when you run into trouble.
Yeah, that's a great mindset. You can obviously see that it reflects in your business as well. Kind of like we talked about earlier, you carry those values of being a Christian into your business, and you can tell as soon as you walk in here that you're kind, you're welcoming. So I definitely think people can feel that as well.
Well, I certainly hope so, because that's the way I want to. You know, as a Christian, they say that if you live your life for Christ, you should be a reflection of that, and people should be able to see what it is. And if somebody wants to ask what makes me different or what makes me that way, I can tell them. It's an opening to preach the gospel.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, I wish there were more people out there who claim to be Christians that would take a look at it that way. We're supposed to be loving and kinding. We don't have to accept what they do because that's on them. It's not on us. Ours is just to have an answer for them. You know, why is it that we are the way we are? You know, and as I said to you when we first talked the first time, if I'm wrong, I've lived a better life.
Yeah.
If I'm right, I hope you're saved too. Because that's my hope for everybody, to be at their very best. You know,
Yeah.
my older brother loves to run. Matter of fact, he just did another half marathon,
Wow.
and he's 60. You
Oh
know,
my gosh.
and he's done 7 complete marathons, right? But I always tell everybody, it's like you never actually win a race beating somebody else. You actually win a race because you've trained, you've worked hard, and you happen to be better than the next person that very day, right? But it's all of that work that you do that got you there. And for everything that you want to achieve, it's a matter of working at it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Work to be at your very best, no matter what you do. You know, when I went back and took some courses to learn things about business I didn't know when we were going to open one up. And I got to talking from another class after we'd open it up. I used to tell them, it's like, what advice do you have for somebody who wants to open a business? And I sat there, I said, there's 2 things. 1, work in the industry and learn everything you can. And 2, if you're working for somebody else in the same business, follow everything that they want you to do, so long as it's not unethical or immoral or illegal, even if you disagree with it. I said, because it will give you the structure that you'll need. Because if you don't hold yourself accountable for things, you will never hold anybody else accountable. That's an important thing too.
Yeah.
If you do not have discipline, you cannot discipline somebody else because you'll just let things go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
I have one more question for you.
all right.
Why did you decide to partner with us and offer the discounts?
Well, first of all, I love all different advertising forms. Okay. Everything has something to bring to the table. With yours, it's the whole world's moving digital, right? And it's a simple program. As I said before, like when the coupons, we don't worry about collecting coupons. We just call them specials, right? It's a simplified version for somebody to get a discount. They don't have to remember anything. They don't have to do anything. Just show us your phone, you get the discount. It's simple, it's easy, and it takes less time. Computers track everything. So I'll be able to determine how much sales I get from this venture just by running a report,
Yeah.
right? But the main thing is the customer. It's simple and it's access. I mean, what you're doing as far as running all these other businesses is saying we're part of a community. And that's a huge, huge thing because it's not just my business that you're giving a discount for, it's all the others, which means that there's a greater reason for people to join your program because they have access to all these other businesses, even my competitors,
Yes.
right? Because I do know you signed one of them up, was a good friend of mine.
Yes.
But when it comes to I had somebody tell me that I shouldn't run third-party apps because although I'll have access to the people that run the third-party programs, that I will also means that those people have, other companies will have access to my customers. I'm like, so?
Yeah.
So the truth of the matter is, I actually want my competition to be as good as they can be also. And most people don't look at it. They think, destroy the competition, destroy it. No, you want your competition to be at its very best. Because if they're not, then you don't have to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I can slough off because I don't have good competition, why am I here?
Yeah.
And your community thing helps bring that. Yeah, there'll be a bunch of pizza places on there, I expect, right? I'm hoping they're going to come and choose mine because we've got good product. But I also like the idea that, hey, if they're not feeling pizza tonight, maybe they'll go to some other restaurant that's
Yes.
on there. Or what if they need a service? I'm trying to encourage all my employees to join too.
Thank you.
As it is, not just to expand it, because they're going to find things that they can use, And I don't know everything that you have on there, but, What if one of my drivers needs a tire repair or oil change, and
Yes.
you've got somebody that's on there and like, hey, wait a minute, that's part of the community. You're actually helping each other, particularly with local businesses, and
Thank
that's
you.
what it is. It's community.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Community.
I think that is the driving factor of like everything, of just people uplifting each other, people supporting each other, people collaborating with each other is the way to do it. It's key.
Absolutely. I think it's a great program.
Thank you.
I'm hopefully I'm praying for its success. I'm praying
Thank
for it
you.
to be a big success because I think it will. I think it'll help everybody in the long run.
We appreciate
And and
your
it's
kind
simple
words. Yeah. Yeah. And free, and it's free.
and it's
So
free. Right.
even better. So Frankie, thank you for coming on the podcast. How can people find you? And what is one thing you want to leave people with?
Well, you can find us at mamamarie'spizza.com if you're ordering online. We're also on a bunch of third-party apps, Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats. We're all on there. Our phone number, of course, 419-867-9991. Relatively simple number. But the one thing that I would encourage them to do is come out and try us. Um, we're very particular about our food. Okay, we use a sliced Italian sausage. We use real ground beef, not something that's filled with protein or protein extenders in order to cheapen it down. Uh, like pineapple on a pizza or don't, we use fresh pineapple. There's no water down out of a can or no syrup in the can making it sweeter. It's just real fresh pineapple. And we care about those products, and I think we should. I was just telling you earlier when you walked in, we don't buy pre-cooked frozen wings. We actually cook ours fresh, which gives it a whole new taste. You know, the moisture is not sucked out of them being in a freezer and everything. So they're excellent. And I think come out and give us a try. Definitely download the app. See what else besides us is on there. I mean, obviously you can get a discount here if you order. But you know, download that app and just and see everything else, and
Yeah.
let's help make this grow as partners and everything.
Yes. Well, Frankie, thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.